was 7 or so, I enjoyed watching football, baseball, and basketball on TV. Through high school, I experienced school rivalries in sports while both participating in team sports and spectating it within our sternum-rattling old high school gymnasiums. It was a memorable, thrilling experience that can't be described to those who never participate in such events. There was something powerful to the entire spectacle that was difficult to talk about, but was palpable and imprinted itself on your psyche lifelong. I strongly encouraged both of my kids to participate in team sports when they were in high school. And I tried not to discourage team sports viewerships as a hobby either, despite its obviously corrupted nature nowadays. In my later years, I've lost my passion for spectator sports and haven't watched much of it since I weaned myself from cable TV in 2006, including taking myself off streaming ESPN since 2012. I still occasionally signed up for trials of slingTV or fubo to watch a few big college games, but the entire experience of watching it on a big screen lost its attraction for me, I noticed. I only realized that watching spectator sports had no meaning when you watch it alone and without any community behind it. The vlogger, writer, and iconoclast Aaron Clary states that sports watching is cringe and a waste of time. He points out that when your team wins, you yourself win nothing, just as when your team loses, you also lose nothing. He looks down on the typical man-child who pays hundreds of dollars to wear his team's jersey with a so-called star's name on it along with its number. He will humorously belittle those who spend their free time among huge hordes, just like cattle, chanting and becoming emotionally invested in wins and losses and other stats of grown men in tights playing children's games. It becomes a convincing argument against wasting your life on seemingly meaningless and frivolous activities. The entire sports media industry has grown into a corrupted monstrosity, consuming discretionary income along with becoming the largest pay pig on television and streaming services. Coaches and star players command salaries dwarfing those of neurosurgeons, top university professors, and astronauts. The entire sports complex can seem to be a grotesque hellscape, condemning our modern American society. But critics of sports media complex don't fully comprehend what sports team worship represents, nor do they understand history and human civilization. Throughout history, human civilizations have risen and fallen based on the development of their societies upon victories or defeats in battles and wars. Nations grow as their citizens' combined achievements and morale develop. A unified nation moving as one can be an awe-inspiring force of nature that can move mountains. A mass of unorganized individuals moving independently may also sometimes make a difference. But when a large number of individuals move as one, there is a synergy that can be explosive. Now, the tenets of communism, such as in China, Russia, or North Korea, is based also on this idea of unifying an entire nation and having it move as a revolutionary spirit through history. Yet, communism has repeatedly failed in nation after nation due to its coercive nature. Undesirable and unpopular totalitarian brutality can't move the individual. People must unify themselves voluntarily for a joint cause felt to be worthy and justified, for there to be power and force behind it. It can't be artificial. It can't be for a lame reason. On following team sports, one may be struck by the recurrent theme that certain teams, parts of a country, or certain nations excel in team sports, whereas other nations, states, or teams fail. It's seldom just luck alone, but it's rather a mix of systems, dedication or prioritizations, and demographics that are involved. There are ethnicities and nations who de-emphasize team sports, who don't feel it valuable. Examples include Israel, China, India. It's also uncommon individually to find Jewish, Chinese, or Indian people who regularly participate in or enjoy team sports. This is a culturally ingrained trait. It is often individuals coming from cultural backgrounds where team sports is devalued who will tend to criticize and denigrate it. Yet team sports is appreciated increasingly over time by massive followings. It's considered very important by many. One of the lessons the Japanese learned after losing World War II was to copy Americans' penchant for forming large leagues of team sports to be followed by large gatherings in thundering stadiums. They saw something in it that was important. James Surowiecki describes in his Wisdom of Crowds book in 2004 that though one may be more likely to be foolish individually, large groups of people are usually correct in their psychology and mindset. There is something to team sports and their appreciation beyond just filling up your free time. It originates in prehistoric times when nations warred against each other and field generals rallied troops via athletic competition as a stand-in for actual battle. Aristotle's Poetics describe the spectacles experienced within an amphitheater by a large audience will move the gathered multitude through high emotions of fear, pity, laughter, to a climax and a catharsis. Through this sequence of mythos, ethos, the grandly unified crowd is educated and finds meaning in the pathos and grand themes. The combined appreciation creates a synergy that is memorable and thrilling. The ancient Romans built amphitheaters into every city design, but then amplified this idea in their later city constructions, which also contained always temples, but central to the city construction and design was the Colosseum, in which spectacles like gladiatorial battles were staged for public consumption. One may be tempted to trivialize this as bread and circus idea that Soviet Russia had, but historical descriptions of Colosseum entertainment reveal a much more thrilling and dynamic experience than you may have in a circus. Watching Roman gladiatorial battles to the death were accompanied by deadly chariot races, simulated sea battles involving teams of gladiators with their own chanting and cheering throngs of people. Perhaps they weren't much different from something experienced in our modern football stadiums. Instituting loyalty in teams is easy when coupled to specific towns or geographies, for instance. The common man becomes emotionally engaged in teams when they feel a kinship to them. When large audiences are unified by team spirit, the combined ululations of the legions grow to epic amplitudes. Now, this is accomplished also very easily amongst colleges in the United States, each with their dedicated fan base. In this way, the Colosseum transfigures into the heartbeat of a community, unifying it, giving it an identity, a meaning, and power. Communities without such a heartbeat are easily demoralized, easily defeated by a community with such a force within them. It is by far the most powerful means by which communities can develop morale and esprit de corps. It's no coincidence that Western civilizations, which originated in Greco-Roman history, developed rapidly over the past 2,000 years, giving rise to the Industrial Revolution, the development of nuclear energy, satellites, and the computer and internet revolutions. Meanwhile, nations like India and China, and tribes like Israel, without such machinery like the Colosseum, which helped build such unified communities with high morale, would wither on the vine in the same past 2,000 years. Therefore, by engaging in something seemingly trivial like spectator sports, one is partaking in community and joining one's own heart and mind with the crowd to give life to the deafening heartbeat of your brotherhood. This is in no way meaningless nor empty, but it can be seen as the center of your community and as the center of your own living if you choose